Well, it's August and it's time for another walkthrough. I did this previously a few days ago and my camera battery died and I kind of left it abruptly, so I wanted to redo it. I didn't want to put up a video that ended that way. Bit of news, I lost a chicken on Saturday night. I got up Sunday morning and found a raccoon had gotten into the coop. I've never really had a problem with raccoons. I mean, I've seen them in the yard, especially over in the trees over there. I'll see them climb up the trees, and they usually stay away from the chickens. I always thought they were more afraid of the chickens than anything. So, I mean, they dug a hole under the coop, which I was surprised because I have chicken netting underneath of there. The hard wire, what's on the outside of the coop is also underneath of it, so I don't know, pretty determined raccoon apparently, but he just killed one of them and that was it. So down to 4 chickens. Not always the best thing to wake up to. Was kind of surprised though, because Red over here in her little enclosure would be probably much easier to get to, so I'm not sure why they went for one of the chickens over here. Whatever, there's no rhyme or reason to that stuff, I suppose. Just kind of, you know, it's upsetting to lose an animal, but it's also upsetting that raccoons don't really, they don't really consume the chicken, you know. I mean, I wouldn't have such a problem with it if they would just eat it, you know, like if you're hungry and you eat it, okay, it's the same thing we say about rabbits. You know, if you're hungry and you want to eat it, you know, that's fine, we're more than happy, but you just killed an animal and took a couple bites out of it and that was it. It's just frustrating and, yeah. Don't really know what else to say, but anyway, that's a bit of news from this week. Not good news. So I'm gonna do the walkthrough, talk about a few things that I'm gonna change for next year, and then of course we're still doing stuff. We still got a good couple months of growing. We'll be putting in our fall crop, so I'll talk about that. You probably hear me drinking my coffee as I walk around. Stuff back here. I mean, I've started another job. Doing groundskeeping at a school, so I have pretty much neglected this for a while. Hopefully tomorrow I'm going to have my help with me, my mom and my brother, and we can get some of this going. But a lot of these tomatoes back here I'm just going to pull out. There's some green tomatoes on here, but the spot just didn't do well, and I've never actually grown much back here because it gets so weedy and there's grass, and obviously you can see all kinds of garbage. So we'll get this cleaned out. This is blue Hubbard squash that is just growing everywhere, but I haven't seen any of the squash itself come out, so not sure what's up with that. This is my first year growing blue Hubbard though, so maybe I'm doing something wrong. I'm used to growing zucchini, patty pan. What am I growing this year? The delicata squash. So I've never grown the real big squash. I did grow some pumpkin last year, but that didn't do very well either. The Romas back there look like they're doing all right. I see some red fruit, so I need to pick some more. I've picked 160 pounds so far this year, or 107. Either 160 or 170 pounds so far this year of tomatoes, so about the same as last year, which is one of the things that I kind of realized I did wrong. Like last year I probably had 40 plants, 50 plants, and got 180 pounds of tomatoes. This year I've got 300 plants and I'm getting the same amount. So one thing I did wrong was at the beginning of the season when I talked about that I was going to prune all these and take the suckers off and then do a main stem, kind of like this one over here. This is a sky reacher, a little tall one. I didn't get around to doing that. I got busy doing so many other things that I never got around to trimming these, and now because they're so close together they can't grow like they should. A lot of them have gotten some kind of fungus, and then that spreads to the other ones because of touching. So that was just me kind of going crazy with buying different varieties and then trying to space them too close together. So next year I'm going to focus. I did like 32 or 34 varieties this year. So next year I'm going to do probably 10 or 12, and I'm going to space them out better. I am going to prune them because I'm not going to have so many, and see how that goes, because it's kind of, you know, another one of those frustrating moments where more plants doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get more fruit. And I had to learn that the hard way. But yeah, that's one of the things I'm going to do for next year. And there's some varieties that I just think aren't worth growing. One of them that we tasted last night, because it was the first time I took a fruit off, was an Anna Russian. And that's a really big tomato. They're like a pound or more each. They're shaped like they almost remind me of an ox heart tomato. So it's shaped more like a heart. It's got a really pointy end to it, and then gets fatter towards the top. And it's a really good tomato. It tasted really good. It's really meaty, like a aroma, but for the space, so I've got about 4 plants, and they're over on that side. So for the space, there's like 4 plants, and I got about 2, 3, 4 tomatoes off each one. That is not cost effective for a small farmer. So I'm not going to grow those anymore. I do like the pole bigs, which we'll get to those in a few minutes. Those do really well. I'm actually trying to get another farmer friend of mine to grow those because they're such a good grower. And it was another farmer that told me to grow them this year. So just kind of trying to pass along that information of you know, what to grow and what's good in our climate and what works. Over here is our cucumbers and patty pans, and I've been picking off cucumbers here and there. Thought I saw one earlier. Oh yeah, there's one down there, and a small one here. One over there I'm going to give to the chickens because it's just been sitting there for a while and didn't look good to begin with. There's patty pan in there, which the one that's growing is on the other side. These have really just started to take off, but it's gotten a little cooler out now. It's been real hot for a while, but we actually got a flood here in northern Indiana, surprisingly. We had almost 8 inches. It was an inch of rain an hour, so it was a bunch of flooding. Luckily we didn't get anything where we're at, but a lot of the rest of our city did. But that was a lot of rain in a very short period of time. So I was kind of worried about what was going to happen, but the ground's been so dry for so long that I think, you know, most of this just, all the water just stayed here, and the plants loved it, which is great. I'll walk around the other side here. So these are kind of the tomatoes I've been pointing at this whole time were a succession plant. So I planted these later than I planted the other ones, so I would have tomatoes longer. But one of the things that the rain did is the cracking on the tomato. Tomatoes don't necessarily like a ton of rain all at once, so we did about 20 pounds of cracked tomatoes that I made sauce with. Spaghetti sauce. I made just tomatoes and salt so that we could use it for paste or soup, you know, whatever later on. And then I did some salsa too. So, you know, you can't necessarily sell those because people don't like the look of cracked tomatoes, but for us, you know, we don't care. I can make sauce and we can use them later on, so not a problem. But all these are smaller. These are all what would be considered plum tomatoes. There's not too many big ones in here. Back here I have some bigger green ones that I've been pulling off. These kind of fell over and I just let them do whatever. See if I can find that patty pan in here. Oh, there it is. That's the first one of those, but these are looking real good. I see a little bit of powdery mildew over here, so I'll cut those leaves off, and hopefully it won't spread. Excuse me, I got a frog in my throat this morning. So down here, what you're seeing is my Malabar spinach, which I grew last year, and it didn't do great, but I planted it really late last year. and I shouldn't have, because this spinach actually likes it really hot. So it's not doing super good right now because it's cooling off, but it still looks like it'll be alright. And this was something that we didn't really like the taste of, but my mom tried it and she liked it. So whatever's here, I'll just give her, and she can eat it, and I'll try again next year. Maybe plant more in a different spot. Because again, like I've been saying all year, back here in this back half of the yard, there's all these trees overhead. So there's this huge section from where that Rose of Sharon tree is, from it to the fence, and then all the way back, and my 6 rows that I'm still trying to figure out what to grow back here because of how much shade there is. So I tried to grow some radish and it didn't really like it. I haven't tried lettuce yet, so I'm going to try some lettuce back here. I've got a couple different varieties that I think might do okay back here, but I really need to utilize this shaded area, and I'm just having a hard time figuring out what to put here. Down here there's lots more different kinds of squash. I know there's some patty pan in there. I'm pretty sure there's more zucchini in there. This was just stuff that I had in the greenhouse for a long time that my mom ended up planting for me when she was over one day. The tomatoes coming up are ones that are going to get pulled tomorrow, maybe today. Probably not today though, because I'm teaching a class at the library about fermenting food tonight. So, and then Samory's got a doctor's appointment in a little while, so we've got things to do today. But these are all determinate plum tomatoes, so these are going to get pulled because they're done. There's a few stragglers on there, but they're not going to grow anymore. So these will get pulled. Over here is the pull bigs, which these have been done for a while. Again, there's some stragglers on here, but these are done. These need to get pulled. These are determinants as well. So all this, there might be half a dozen plants over there that are still okay, but the rest of this is going to get pulled, and then I'm going to plant some fall stuff here. Radishes, greens, beets, carrots. What else do I have? Rutabaga, spinach. So I'm going to try to get all this stuff cleaned up, replanted. There's a rabbit that's been coming through here eating a bunch of these. That's why they're all over the ground. These ones will stay here. These are still okay. I think one of these is the green variety that I can never remember the name of, but it's just a green tomato. I don't remember the name of it. Back here is more tomatoes that were really planted late, quite late. I think they're cherry tomatoes or plum. I know they're not the big ones. Yeah, I think they're cherry. Let's see a few of them down there. So there's still enough time. I think I can get some more fruit off these guys. Over there is greens that rabbits have been enjoying. I don't expect to get anything out of that. Those are actually probably going to get pulled, and I'll plant something else there. This is my last 8-ball zucchini plant. Most of the other ones I had to pull because they had no, can't even think now. I just said it earlier. The powdery mildew, and this one does too. So there's one more zucchini on there. I'll take that off, and this will probably get pulled. Probably there's quite a few of these are probably actually gonna get pulled. There's a little bee over there pollinating. A lot of these squash got powdery mildew, and I get it every year. I think it's inevitable that you get it. There's not really much you can do. I've done a spray I did last year, this homemade spray you could use milk with. That seemed to help, but didn't take care of the problem. Lots of yellow squash here. Or not yellow squash, yellow zucchini is actually what it is. Golden zucchini. So there's a bigger one down there. I'll pull that. These are all green zucchinis. And I planted these later because I wanted to make sure I had some, because it's one of my best sellers at market. Also something that we eat quite frequently. I've taken a couple off of these, but they're still not they're not putting out a lot right now. Back here was okra, and I don't think I'm going to get anything out of those this year. This was my first attempt at growing okra, and for one, I know it needs a really hot environment, and although it was hot, it's also a lot of shade where it's at, so I don't think I'm going to get anything off of it, and that's okay. I mean, I don't mind trying things, and you know, learning, that's part of the experience. So I also know for next year, if I want to grow okra for market, I need to plant it sooner. I need to put it in a more sunny location. You know, you learn from your mistakes. That's part of being a gardener or a farmer, or just in life in general. You should always just be learning. If you think you know everything, you're crazy, because there's no such thing. What plant back here? Oh, there's some butternut squash back here. And again, I don't think anything's going to happen with these because there's not enough sun back here. So I might leave them, or, you know, I don't know. Some of them look really nice, so maybe it'll just be slow. Maybe I'll get something. Over here is a Malabar spinach that I think I accidentally dropped. But that's been back here for quite a while, and it looks really good. So again, that'll go to my mom for her spinach mix. More little tomatoes. Not sure what will happen with these. Oh, I see a bunch of yellow tomatoes down there I didn't even know I had. Oh yeah, these are the yellow gooseberry tomatoes. These are really good. We've actually eaten quite a few of these. I have them in another location on the back. So I'll pick some of those probably today or tomorrow, since I got market on Thursday. See the bees buzzing about. I don't know if you can pick, if the camera's going to pick them up, but there's quite a few of them out this morning pollinating. And then all along this row is just more squash, and I don't know what's going on with it. Sometimes these look really good, and then sometimes they don't, and I just let them go, and then they end up looking alright. This was just a bunch of different, again, another tray of just transplants that I didn't get out in time. And when my mom and brother come over on Wednesdays, I've usually got something planned, and for this day it was just, not today, but the day that these were put out, and some of these other tomatoes, was just get the stuff out of the greenhouse and get it planted somewhere, because if it stays in the greenhouse, it's root bound, it's going to die. At least if I get it in the ground, there's a chance that I can get something out of it. And if I don't, then, you know, at least I tried to get it out. I just don't want to leave it in the greenhouse and let it get, you know, burned and not do anything. That's just a waste of plants. So back here is what I've talked about before in the last video that I wanted to pull, and I never got around to it. But these are the radishes, and there's some tops, but no bulbs formed. So it's just the greens, which is fine, and we can cook with them. But you can see there's lots of weeds everywhere too, because I just haven't gotten. I've just been busy with work and different markets, and one of our best sellers I know I talked about before is pickles. So we've been making pickles like crazy. We just had like 70 pickles delivered to us on Saturday, so we did about 20 jars, and we still have some to do either today or tomorrow to finish up that batch. So I have my two farmers that were growing cucumbers for me, and the one is probably done, and the other one she just delivers to me every Saturday, so whatever I get is, you know, we'll make into pickles. And I think we're at about 100 jars this year so far. It's kind of crazy. Back here is the green zucchini, the Coquozel. These grow really well. It's an heirloom. I just can't say enough about how good it is. This is the second year I've grown these, but they always take off, and they always produce a lot. So I will keep growing these. There's one down there. There's actually a couple down there. Oh, there's a bigger one in here. And they're so big that I have to walk in this other squash bed because the plants just take over. It's like Jurassic Park over here. There's another one. But these grow really well. They're really prolific plants. So all of this is the Cocozelle, and then in the front here, these smaller low to the ground ones are the Delicata. So these are the ones that, they're more of a fall squash, but they taste like sweet potato. They're really good. I don't know if there's any. I know I picked a few for market on Saturday, and I don't know if there's any more in there. But anyways, all the tomatoes on the side of the greenhouse, they're doing okay. Some of these guys are again a determinate variety that need to be pulled and put something else in this space. There's the cucumbers I've been growing back here have been enormous. They've been about, oh, I know one I picked was exactly a pound, and then the other ones I picked have been between 10 and 12 ounces each. So I don't know like what's so great about this area, but these cucumbers love it. And what's funny is that the plant is in the water, so it's almost like it's self-watering itself. Maybe that's why it likes it so well, I'm not sure. But yeah, and this was just me just throwing plants back here because I think there's 6 total cucumber plants that were in the greenhouse and they were going to die, and I was like, oh, I'll just stick them back over there by the pond, see what happens. Alright, let's set my coffee down. So yeah, these are probably going to get pulled, and I think these are probably going to get pulled as well. And I'll leave the big giant one over there is my Johnny's hybrid, the cherry bomb, which has also done really well. It gets really bushy, puts out a ton of fruit. So I think this is definitely one I'm going to grow again next year. It's just an enormous plant. I think there's only like 4 in there. I think 4 of that variety. Let's see if I can get in there and find a ripe one. A bunch of them are in the middle, or it's kind of hard to see. But a really prolific plant, and another one that I really like. So this is definitely a one I'll keep growing. And here's a ripe one here. So about that size. Down here I've been cutting my Italian basil, which isn't, I sold it the first week at market, and this week nobody really even paid attention to it. I don't think I'm going to grow this one again. I got this at like in a discount rack of seeds. So it grows really well, but we don't particularly like it because it has that really strong anise flavor to it, like licorice. So not sure if I'm gonna grow that one again or not. Back here, the cucumber plant that was back here, just you can see a little bit of it trailing over there. That needs to get pulled up. This isn't producing cucumbers at all anymore. a few tomatoes over here, but that'll stay here. Pepper plants, so these Thai chili peppers, I've been getting a ton of peppers off these, and this is actually the peppers that we use in our spicy dill pickles. So I'm going to grow these next year, but I'm going to grow them in the front yard because I ended up pulling all of our tomato plants in the front yard this year. Oh, about 2-3 weeks ago I pulled all of them. They're really slow growing up there. The rabbits get into them, and the soil up there is a lot different than the soil back here, and you know, that's something that you have to figure out in your yard. And because our house is so old, it was built in 1890, and the research that we've done, we've talked to our neighbors, got some history about it, and I'm sure I've probably said it on another video, or at least written it on our website somewhere, but originally this property was part of a cattle slaughtering. So you know, the soil back here is really good because I've actually found cow bones while I'm digging up. So there's all that nutrients from when they did that. So the soil back here is great. I have great, you know, really good success growing things. And when I don't have success, it's usually because it's my own fault and I'm doing something wrong. But up front, obviously they're not going to be killing cows in the front of the property because the house has always been in the same spot. So the dirt up there is a lot different. So I'm going to try next year to grow these peppers in the front yard. Peppers are pretty forgiving about where you plant them, and they like hot, and so I'm hoping to do that next year because these are not a pepper that you would grow for market unless you grow an entire field of them, because they're so small. In order to make any money off of them, you just have to have a million plants because it's just it's not worth it. But it's great for our pickles. Yeah, it cuts down on if we have to pay somebody to grow something for us. Normally I buy jalapenos from somebody, but I only grew 2 jalapeno plants this year, and then well, I actually got a trial pack of a different kind of jalapeno. I don't remember what the kind those were, and only 2, I had 5 seeds in the pack and only 2 germinated, so that's all I had, and the rest was just these Thai chilies that I'm growing. But they are really prolific, and they're great for us as what I would consider a value-added product. So we're using it to add to our pickles that we sell to make our spicy pickles. So for us it's advantageous because I can grow it and use it in our pickles, and I don't have to pay somebody to grow them for me. And I'm sure people are probably wondering why we pay somebody to grow anything for us, and the main reason is because I can't grow the amount of cucumbers I need to make and sell pickles and grow other fruit to sell at market, or other vegetables to sell at market. If I grew cucumbers, I would have to do it in the entire backyard, and then we wouldn't have anything else to sell. So it just doesn't make any sense. Oh, here's one of those Anna Russians that I was talking about earlier. So I'm going to pull these two. Almost this entire row is going to get pulled. These are, on this side is red pear tomatoes. On that side is yellow pear tomatoes. The yellow ones are doing fine. Red ones not so much. Which is kind of a bummer because I really wanted the red ones to take off. And you know what? It's probably my own fault for planting them so close, like I said earlier. So I'm going to see what I can salvage out of here, and then probably plant some different things over here. Probably something smaller, like radishes. Nothing real big over here. If I'm going to end up saving these tomatoes, if I can't, then I'll plant other things. And then, like I said, yellow pear tomatoes are here. On this side is the Japanese eggplant, which I picked a ton of the other day and sold. It's kind of hard to get in here because of the squash plant is just taking over. I could walk around the other side maybe. But anyways, they're the skinny ones. Yeah, I picked probably a dozen or so of those. Not sure what happened there. I think I might have accidentally turned off my camera. So a few tomato plants left back here, not many. Alright, in the greenhouse, there's one big tomato plant, cherry tomato plant growing back here. Those guys are done. Those are some microgreens that looked fine yesterday. Need to water them, it looks like. This was a volunteer cherry tomato plant. Bunch of basil. This is for the other property that we have that we're farming. Not all of it, but a lot of it I'm going to plant over there because they specifically asked for basil, and there's still plenty of time to grow some basil. Pepper plants. These are mini bells, and they're actually doing really well. On this side, there's some basil over here in the pot. These are some pepper plants that I obviously dropped the seed. But the pepper plants on this side of the greenhouse are doing great. The peppers on that side of the greenhouse aren't doing so great. I don't know. Again, it's just one of those things where you learn as you go, and I'm like, there's no rhyme or reason. It's the same dirt, it's the same soil. Maybe they just like it over there more because there's, I don't know, less heat, more shade, more heat. I don't know. But anyways, that's about it for what's going on. We'll try and get a video done in the middle of next month again. Try not to have them so far apart from each other. So yeah, I think that's about it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have any questions, comments, leave them below. Thanks. Have a great day.